Hi, guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I'm back sooner than expected, but I have to get this off my chest and I need your input on this one. As you all know, Prince Andrew has just come through the Virginia Giuffre scandal, and like I've said numerous times before, if he was totally innocent, he should not have settled. So, I guess we'll never know the truth about Andrew and Virginia, but we'll be free to think what we want. As for me, I'm old school and I believe that Andrew settled for a reason. Maybe not for the reason we may think he did. Maybe there was something else he did not want to come out in the wash. I also do not think he fell on his sword because of his mother's jubilee, because I am a mother, and if it was my son and I was convinced of his innocence, I would have been right there encouraging him to fight for his reputation. I personally would rather have given him 12 million to fight than 12 million to give to somebody as undeserving as Virginia Giuffre. But anyway, this is all old news, and now we are being faced with the next onslaught. And again, it is Andrew in the crosshairs. Okay, so basically, Andrew, Sarah, and Beatrice are mentioned in court documents in a case between a Mrs. Ispilin, a Turkish woman, and a Mr. Salman Turk, a Turkish supposed investor and fraudster. According to reports, Sarah and Andrew both received money from Mr. Turk on behalf of Mrs. Isbelin as donations or gifts for their endeavours, and also a further gift of £25,000 was made as a contribution or gift to Eugenie's wedding. An amount of 750,000 was, however, returned when Andrew or his staff realized that all of it could possibly be a scam. Now, I can understand why these gifts or donations are mentioned in the court documents, because this woman is obviously listing the supposed lies and false claims Mr. Turk made. According to Mrs. Isbelin, Mr. Turk paid $750,000 or pounds, excuse me, to Andrew on the 15th of November 2019. However, according to court documents, this money was returned to her when Andrew was informed that the payment was likely made under false pretenses. You see, Mr. Turk told Mrs. Isbelin that the money was for help Andrew provided to obtain a passport for her. But then he went and told bankers that it was a gift for Princess Beatrice's wedding. And then it appears that Sarah also received plus minus £225,000 from Mr. Turk via Alphabet Capital, a company set up as a front by Mr. Turk. According to statements, the payment Sarah received was in connection with a payment owed to her for her work with a solar power company. Then, allegedly, Princess Eugenie also received £25,000 as a wedding gift. Now, as we all know, the royals do not completely manage their own bank accounts, taxes, etc. They have staff doing that. But according to court records, Andrew returned the money as soon as he realized that the story behind the money differed from morning to night. Also, that money was paid to Andrew 9 days after Turk received an award at Andrew's pitch at Palace. So only God, Andrew, and Mr. Turk will know what Andrew was actually told at the time what the money was for. Did he perhaps think it was a donation to his organization after giving Mr. Turk this award? Who knows? Because in true royal fashion, he is not allowed to put his side of the story out there. Anyway, I know as much or as little as you do, but I am becoming increasingly concerned about the narrative which seems to be coming from certain people in the media, and I have a feeling that this is a somewhat organized onslaught against the royal family using the two people who are currently the most vulnerable of all within the royal family. I'm truly uncomfortable with all the negativity and the horrific commentary directed at Andrew and Sarah. I'm not going to go all out and sing their praises as I, like you, recognize the stupid mistakes both of them made. But I have felt for a long time that the media had been very unfair towards Sarah. And it started as far back as her wedding to Andrew. Sarah was always compared to Diana, but the two of them were as different from one another as day is from night. Diana was tall and blonde, Sarah inclined to be plump and a redhead. Diana had help dressing for any occasion, and like we see now with Catherine, Diana could look good in just about anything. But poor Sarah, not as much. How many of you remember Sarah being called the Duchess of Pork or Frumpy Fergie? How Diana was portrayed as the saint and Fergie as the sinner. Sarah was labeled vulgar and raunchy. But regardless of this, when Andrew and Sarah divorced, Sarah received a relatively small settlement, and regardless of what had been said of Sarah since, she went to work giving interviews, writing books, promoting crockery, being a spokesperson for diet products, etc., etc. Now, I have read so much about Sarah's children's books that I actually went and looked at it. And as someone who refused to be influenced by the media, I actually think Sarah's children's books are actually quite cute. I've not read her romance novels yet, but maybe one day I will. Very little media attention was given to Sarah's charity work and is actually still given to her charity work. In 1993, she founded Children in Crisis. In 2005, she was named as Global Ambassador for Ronald McDonald House. And just by the way, I'm a great supporter of Ronald McDonald Houses, as my daughter was one of those fortunate enough to receive help from a Ronald McDonald House when my little granddaughter spent nearly 6 months in hospital after she was born at only 24 weeks gestation. Sarah has also been a strong supporter and patron of Street Child for a very, very long time. In 2020, Sarah brought her charitable causes together in her new organization called Sarah's Trust. And we recently saw Sarah visiting Ukrainian refugees in Poland, but she did not arrive alone. She brought with her 3 truckloads full of food, toiletries, and other necessities, all from her trust. But you see, good news and works do not sell newspapers. Controversy and nastiness does. Now, indeed, I know Prince Philip never forgave Sarah for her toe-sucking front page story, but obviously the Queen did, and it appears most of all the other family did as well. Sarah eventually moved back in with Andrew, and they have been living together peacefully for many years now. As far as Andrew is concerned, I'll gladly acknowledge that he appears not to be the brightest tool in the shed, and I can quite believe that he is or was rather arrogant and as entitled as befits a spoiled rich boy. But is being ignorant a crime? Is being spoiled and entitled a crime? It's fine by me that his mistakes are being reported on, but why not report on the few things he did right? It was the 40th anniversary of the Falklands War a few days ago, and except for a three-part post on Sarah's Instagram page and a mention a few weeks ago on Trevor Colt's YouTube channel, I am yet to see the media who are now repeating Andrew's mistakes and faults ad nauseum mention the brave and good work he did during the Falklands War. I also noticed that Andrew's pitch at Palace is now prominently mentioned in articles concerning the latest court documents, but I do not see them mentioning that pitch at Palace is not that different in principle from Charles's Prince's Trust. In November 2019, Andrew stepped down from his role as head of Pitch at Palace, and they are busy rebranding. But to date, Pitch is still being represented in 64 countries. Until Andrew retired from public duties in 2019, Andrew had more than 230 patronages and charities which now lost him as patron, and some of these included the Tall Ships Trust, the British Deaf Association, the Children's Foundation, and Fight for Sight, etc., etc. Andrew's The Prince Andrew Charitable Trust closed by the end of 2020. The trust had an annual income of approximately 1.4 million and employed 19 people. Okay, so what more does the press want him to do? And when I talk about the press, I actually mean the media. And while I'm ranting, why not do something I do not regularly do, as I'm usually quite happy to let others have their opinion? But having said that, I felt my blood pressure rise a little listening to a clip from Lorraine the other day. She was in an interview with Russell Myers. Now, come on. Russell Myers is a royal reporter, and I would love to ask him who the heck he thinks he is criticizing the Queen for her decision to have Andrew escort her into the church. But Lorraine and Russell Myers were still mild. But wait until you listen to the vile narrative spilled by GBN News' Mark Dolan on Prince Andrew a few days ago. Now, I don't care what anyone says, but unless Prince Andrew was proven and convicted as a rapist or murderer, that man, Mark Dolan, had no right to spill that vile rhetoric on a public platform. None. It was utterly disgusting. And as I love to say very often, I wonder how the arrogant Mark Dolan would have felt if he was at the receiving end of his own narrative. I have absolutely no idea what is going on with these so called reporters or royal reporters. Are they now dead set on sending Her Majesty the Queen to her grave? Or is there another agenda at work here? And if so, what is it? Now, my feeling that there are other forces at work here, or an agenda as hideous as anyone can imagine, was further strengthened when I read extracts from Robert Jobson's book, William at 40. But I'm going to talk to you about that and my opinion on the whole royal debacle in the next video. Okay, guys and girls, so until then, take good care of yourselves. Bye.